Hello student, I am Yashwant Bohra, Assistant Professor, LG School of Law, and today we'll be discussing about the topic kinds of punishment. So before moving further, I'll suggest students to please keep a bare act with them that will help them to understand the sections very in a better way. So now moving to our lecture, chapter 3 of Indian Penal Code talks about the punishment, and section 53 of Indian Penal Code again talks about the kinds of punishment. There are in total six kinds of punishment under mentioned under IPC, but punishment number three, which is transportation of life, has been removed by the Act of 1949. So therefore, presently there are in total five types of punishment which are mentioned or present in the IPC. Now we'll see what are these five types of punishment in the IPC. Now first is death punishment, second is imprisonment of life, third is transportation of life which has been omitted by the Act of 1949. Fourth is imprisonment which can be a regress or simple. Fifth is forfeiture of property, and sixth is fine. So these are the types of punishment which are mentioned under IPC. You have to remember this thing that though in IPC there are five types of punishment, but still the third punishment has been mentioned. It is not, it is repealed, but it in if you see the act in that it will see the third punishment has been removed. It's not like it is the number has been removed, just only the punishment has been removed. So there are sometimes there are contingency in the exams. They ask that how many types of punishment are there, whether there are six types of punishment or there are five types of punishment. So and again it depends that what to write. So I'll prefer the students to write the five types of punishment. Now moving further, we'll see the first, death sentence. Now what is death sentence? It means ending the life of the person who is convicted of the crime. Now in which cases death sentence can be given or can be awarded? Death sentence are awarded in India in various of rare cases. In that sentence, India, the person life is ended by hanging him or by executing him. Like in different in other countries, there are some different kinds of execution. Like you must have heard about the Arab countries, they execute the person if there is a heinous crime committed by him. They execute the person in the public area or before the public, so that can be the, like we have read the theory, studied the theories of punishment, so that it gives a lesson to the public that you don't have to do these type of things. But in India, the person is hanged within the jail or there, and the person is not hanged in the before the public. Now we'll see under what kind of offences the death sentence has been given in Indian Penal Code. So you'll see offences like waging war against the government of India or abetting the mutiny actually committed, murder, kidnapping for ransom, dacoity accompanied with murder. In all these offences, the punishment of death is given, or the death punishment is mentioned for the offences. Now moving to our next punishment. Moving to our next punishment. Before moving to our next punishment, I'll see who. I'll tell you that childrens are immune by under IPC, as we all know that they are governed by the different Children's Act. Okay, so children who are under the age of 16 years shall not be given the death sentence. Now moving to our next punishment, that is imprisonment for life. Imprisonment for life, we generally says that Ajivan Karavas in Hindi, or life imprisonment. Okay, so life imprisonment, first we have to know that transportation for life has been substituted or is been substituted by imprisonment of life. Now imprisonment, transportation of life was, must have heard in Hindi, you must have heard the Kala Pani ki saza. So transportation of life has been removed, as we all know, from the Act 1949, and imprisonment of life was came after that particular removal. It means that imprisonment of life means that imprisonment till the person is alive, like till the person is alive he will be imprisoned, he will be imprisoned in the jail. Now government under section 401 of CRPC is having power to remit the sentence of imprisonment of life wholly or in a part. Again the president is also having power to remit the sentence of imprisonment of life wholly or in part. Now, in the state of Ratan Singh, in the state versus Ratan Singh, AR 1976, SC 1152, it says that imprisonment of life does not mean imprisonment of 20 years, because there was a confusion before that the imprisonment of life is only for imprisonment for 20 years. The Supreme Court has cleared the confusion and cleared the doubt. It says that imprisonment of life means imprisonment of life until and unless the appropriate government chooses its discretion to remit either the whole or the part of sentence. So that means that imprisonment of life will be the imprisonment of for the whole life. It's not for the 20 years or the 14 years or any of the number. Okay, now moving to our next slide, which talks about the imprisonment only. What do you mean by imprisonment? If the person is confined, if the person is confined by the police because he is committed some crime, or he is convicted of some crime, then that thing will be known, that confinement is known as imprisonment. In general term, it says that restraining the liberty of a person, it's mean that restraining of liberty from of a person, and it includes both rigorous and simple imprisonment. Now what is rigorous and what is simple? The word itself clear what is rigorous imprisonment and what is simple imprisonment. Rigorous imprisonment known as the harsh condition of imprisonment, such as grinding corn, digging earth, drawing water, bowing wool, etc. You must have seen in most of the old movies that the prisoners used to break the rocks, they used to dig the earth, they used to dig the earth. Those are the examples of rigorous imprisonment. And what is simple imprisonment? Simple imprisonment generally means the normal imprisonment, like they are in jail and doing the normal work. Okay, so, in simple imprisonment of the person is confined to jail with the normal condition. There is no harsh condition imposed on that particular person. Now, moving to next our punishment, that is forfeiture of property. Now, is what do you mean by forfeiture? Forfeiture is the loss of the property without the compensation as a result of defaulting on contractual obligation or as a penalty of illegal act. Now, if in case the person not fulfilled the what provisions of the punishment, then in that case his property can be forfeited. Okay, now punishment can be forfeited, and it section 61 and 62 of this particular act talks about the forfeiture of the property. Now, there are three offences in which the offender is liable for the forfeiture of the property. These are the offences mentioned under section 126, 127 and section 169. Now moving to a next offense, that is next punishment, that is fine. Now in general, fine means if any law has been broken up by the person, then he has to pay the fine. It is the amount which the person has to pay the fine and which is imposed by the court. So section 63 of Indian Penal Code talks about the quantum of fine in case where quantum is not decided by the court. Uh, and section 64 talks about the punishment in case of non-payment of fine. Section 63 and 64 generally talks about the fine. It says that if the person has not Section 64 says that if the person has not committed, paid the fine, then what will be the ratio to which he will be imprisoned. Okay, so I think you must have got the concept of the punishment, and if there is any query, you can ask me anytime, and go to the provisions in the punishment, as in because of the lack of time, I must have I might have dropped any of the things. In case if you not understand, you can approach me anytime. Thank you, and take care of yourself and study hard.